Hi, I'm Dana, and I booked myself a ticket to a Halloween event specifically to give myself the task of creating a really unhinged Halloween costume. And I decided to go as Wallace, aka Mr. Tusk, from the Kevin Smith movie Tusk. So I started out with this dress and blazer that I got from a charity shop. These two items, the shoes, and a couple of other random beige tone items that I used as the patches, all cost me £10.50 altogether. I paid £5 for the giant pack of tights. Everything else I have. I already had it all. Oh, the fake blood was in a makeup pack that was £3. Entire thing came to less than 20 quid. I had all the other stuff. So the first thing I did was take off the weird mesh and chain, and I vaguely wish I hadn't because I did kind of screw up the dress in taking off the mesh. I wish I'd just taken out the chain, but I just couldn't deal with it. It wasn't for me. That was the first thing that had to just go. It was a really nice. I hated the chain, but it was a really well structured dress, and I have ruined the integrity. I might figure out how to hem it. But I started out with that, and then I was like, the blazer is the most important thing, really, other than the tusks. So I should start there instead of starting on the thing that you're not really going to see underneath it. But I'm weird about showing my body, so that's what we're doing. But I just started sewing on patches, honestly. It's not really that complicated. I did start by just using one strand of embroidery thread, and then I ended up using like eight strands of cotton, and then I also doubled up on embroidery thread because I only have so much embroidery thread in like dark enough colours. It was a bit of a thing. I kind of I still have time and I do sort of want to do more patches, but I don't think I'm actually going to. I don't have the energy for it, and I did quite a few. I've done enough to get the effect. Actually doing like random stitches is quite hard, but at least cutting the fabric like I did and just having that raw hem, raw edge even, it made it look sort of like skin, like it does look sort of gross, especially because I dabbed the edges with fake blood. It's worked out. I am happy with it. Okay, so the person that I saw on TikTok that inspired this did like a cute little mask with the tusks coming down, and I did originally want to do that, I won't lie. I can't find that type of cute little paper mask anywhere. I thought I would, it's Halloween, but okay. So my idea now is getting significantly more complicated, and I think I'm gonna use this headband and what if I put it on the right fucking way around. If I do it like that, it's got these little like holes on it, and I can put wire through and then have them like dangle down to like here, and then have the tusk and cover a good amount of the wire really with my hair, and just have the tusks like dangle down. And I think I can, if we do some sort of like connector so that they don't go too much wider than my face, I think this is gonna work. So we're gonna do that with some oven like polymer clay type stuff. Pray for me. We're gonna do it. So I'm gonna move the angle so you see what I do. This might work. Actually, sculpting the tusks was the bit that I was both looking forward to the most and dreading the most, because I knew it was the bit that I'd like most creatively enjoy, but it was also the part that I really needed to go right to actually have the costume, So I started out by just getting my shape with tin foil, then measured enough wire, what I thought would be enough. It did end up being enough. I could have probably done with a little bit more, to be completely honest with you. I do try to tend on the air of like having too much rather than not enough, but I did just about have enough on this, and I wish I'd done a little bit more just to have a bit more security around the headband, but I didn't, so it's whatever. I then just sort of like tried to figure out where the wire best fit into the tin foil and wrapped it with a bit more tin foil. You'll see later it doesn't really hold particularly well, but I kind of didn't think it was going to and already had my backup plan in mind. I should have checked more often that they're the same size, and I still don't think they are, even as the finished product. But they're close enough, they're sisters, not twins. Maybe they're from different walruses, I don't know. They're close enough. I shouldn't complain. It took ages to get my polymer clay like actually workable, because it is really old now, like it is years old. I am coming close to finishing it all though. I got one of those giant boxes from Amazon. So it's cheap, it's cheerful, it does the job. I flattened it out, I got it as thin as I could, and then I just used that to sort of like gently coat the tusk. It's very much like doing fondant on a cake, and I've done that quite a lot. I don't know, I have a very strange little skill set where I'm really good at certain things, and this is one of the things where I'm just like, I know I can do this. I don't know, I just do it. I have the thing in my head and I make it. So I just coated it, and then used some of like the shitty little plastic tools to create a little bit of what I think a walrus texture tooth texture is. And then I baked it so it'd go hard. I never know how long to bake it for, but I got them pretty solid. I'm happy enough with them. They'll at least last for Halloween night. You know, it's gonna get me through the costume. I'm in the craft room now because I live with Winter and they have a craft room. It's really not that posh. But to no one's surprise, the wire has already started coming out. So I'm going to utilise the fact they have a craft room and a shit ton of craft stuff and use some UV resin to like secure it in there properly. And maybe to give them a bit of extra texture and smooth it out a bit before I paint it, I'm not sure. But first, I want to figure out how I'm actually attaching it to where, because I feel like I'm going to need the wires pointed a certain way. I don't want to solidify resin around it with it set in the wrong way. So I'm going to do that. So obviously we're going with the headband idea, and I will have my hair like trying to disguise the wiring, but right now I want to be able to see it, so we are just going full on like that. So I want it to sit like here. I think that'd look like funny and kind of cool. So that one would be going to here, and then I'm thinking under the nose maybe, quite discreet. I really don't know. I really wanted to be able to have it just coming over from the side, but this wire just is not strong enough. I'm wondering if I'm best like slipping it here and doing it from behind the ear. Maybe if I... No. I am going to have to connect it in the middle just to keep them where I want them. Am I best doing that with a little bit of elastic or something else that I can do like a skin colour though? I could paint the wire a skin colour, I guess. If I did like a whole like actually moulded to my face thing, that could actually look kind of cool, and it would definitely keep it secure. With my hair down, that little bit of wire across my face isn't so bad. And you can see what it's there for, like, I'm gonna do it like that, I think. So they need to be positioned like that. And then this is what I could do with extra hands a lot of the time. See the vision? I might try and do some like wire wrapping shit there. I'm gonna test them together for sure. So I'm gonna like bend them up where they would end, just so I have a mark for later. This one needs to go like to there. Yeah, we've got it. I basically just told you what we're doing here, so I don't really know what I'm expecting myself to say at this part. But yeah, I used the UV resin to secure the wire in properly, and I also did a good bit around the nose bridge when I eventually do that. I don't know why I'm telling you now once again. This isn't scripted, if you couldn't tell. I do literally just blabber when I do voiceovers. This was my first time. It was my second time using UV resin, and it was my first time using it without Winter being there to like show me and help me do it and everything. And honestly, I think I did really well, and I actually really enjoyed using it as well. So once I'd like fully secured the wire and was happy with how that was in, I went in with the first couple of coats of white paint. I I did think about going in with like a sort of beigey yellowy colour, but I ended up not, and I don't know how I feel about that, but it's what I did and it's how we are. And then I was really enjoying using the UV resin, and I was like, imagine if I had like a little Mr. Tusk collar, like a little, you know, like how dogs have the little piece that says their name, like not to make it weird, but I just thought I could make it really fun and cute, so I got some beads to spell out Mr. Tusk and found like a little bezel thing. All of this is winter stuff. I've never used anything like this before. I can't afford to own it myself, but it was really fun. So I made that, and I didn't film it, but I did later sew it onto a piece of ribbon that I'm just going to tie around my neck like a little choker. And then I went in with some detailing on the tusks, so it was just brown, red acrylic paints. They did stay kind of sticky, so I again forgot to film it, but I did spray them with just a bit of spray varnish that I again bought years ago and don't really. I've used it for 1001 projects and will continue to do so because it really solidifies things and gets them really hard and shiny, as you can see. And that was them done. I'm overjoyed with them. I'm so happy. So then it was just a case of fitting the wire and figuring out how I was gonna actually like fit it to my face and head. So I molded it across my nose in a very similar way to how like face masks go across your nose. And then I just twisted the wire around itself and bent it down the back of the tusk and secured it down there with, again, more UV resin because it's so useful. I can't believe I've been living without it. And then I could just use the other wire to attach it to the headband. And that's my tusks. Yeah.
This is the moment.
Like it just sits right on, and I'm gonna have to like bobby pin the headband because if it doesn't sit at the right point in my hair, the tusks do start to like slide down because they are kind of heavy. But I can do it. It works. It's what I had in my head. And then my final step was just putting my tights onto the fan and using some Posca paint pens to draw red lines and then draw stitches over it. I do still kind of again wish that I'd actually gone in and like embroidered each stitch, but I just don't have the time or energy at this point. I also kind of wish I hadn't used my fan because that's obviously like all over it now, but it was all I had that was round. So that was what I used. It really doesn't matter and it got the job done and I like the effect it gives. This is my favourite Halloween costume I've ever done. I'm really hoping at least one person understands what it is. I'm so happy with myself. It's ridiculous. Look at my little collar, like, oh, it's exactly what I had in my head. So that's the end of the video. As always, you can also find me on TikTok where I'll be posting so much about this look and also on Instagram where I've again already posted pictures of this look. I also have Patreon and Ko-fi if you want to fund me doing more silly shit like this in the future because I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's that. They'll all be linked down below. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.